From Shape of Water to Silver Surfer, how Doug Jones created his creatures. Doug Jones can clearly recall his first day filming The Shape of Water. Guillermo del Toro&apos handcrafted aquatic fairy tale in which the 57-year-old actor plays a nameless amphibian man who falls for Sally Hawkins&apos, nude cleaning lady in 1960s Baltimore. We started with a scene in which I&apos am chained to a cement block on my knees and being tortured and prodded by Michael Shannon, Jones says. My first day on set was going through the makeup and costume process, then ending up on my knees on concrete being zapped by a cattle prod by a very intense actor. The horror auteur swooning fairy tale of a mute cleaning woman and a Cold War era creature is one timeless love story for the average person. Spending 3 hours in a makeup chair before even walking onto a set might sound like torture. But Jones has built a 30-year career by squeezing his impossibly lean frame into various costumes and contraptions to portray an array of creatures and alien beings. Just as Andy Serkis is the king of performance capture, inhabiting apes and Gollums and Star Wars villains through the magic of technology, Jones is the guy you call when you need someone to bring life and/or recognizable humanity to a creature that and/apos something other than human. You kind of have to forget the physical challenge in the moment, he says. You have to try to make this thing you and/apos re-wearing become a part of you. Del Toro and Jones met when the actor was hired to play a big bug guy for 3 days on pickup shots for the writer-director&apos English language debut Mimic, 1997. Over a meal, they discovered a shared love for movie monsters and the makeup artists who created them. He gave Del Toro his card. 5 years went by. Then, as production was ramping up for Hellboy, the special effects artists at FX shop Spectral Motion suggested to the director that Jones might be the right person to portray Abe Sapien, a very different sort of fish man and a loyal pal to Ron Perlman&apos grumpy half-demon. That&apos when Guillermo said, and/apos Doug Jones. I know Doug Jones! And/apos, recalls Jones, imitating an enthusiastic Del Toro. And he pulled my card out of his wallet. Since that time, the actor has played featured roles in nearly all of the filmmaker&apos productions, including his recently concluded vampire TV series for FX, The Strain, which cast Jones as an ancient blood drinker with a bald head and taloned hands. He currently stars on television as the Kelpian Starfleet science officer Lieutenant Saru in Star Trek, Discovery, but it and/apos their most recent cinematic collaboration that has brought Jones his greatest acclaim to date, with the performer emoting through foam rubber and silicone and creating a fully realized hero who, through great hardship, discovers a powerful connection. With the film set to open in limited release Friday, Jones offered his first-person thoughts on some of his most recognizable roles and some first-hand insight into his creative process. The Amphibian Man, The Shape of Water. Jones spent 3 hours each day in the makeup chair to prepare for scenes that featured the fish man, who was nicknamed Charlie on set. The name came from the old Starkist mascot, Charlie the Tuna. Arriving at the design for the creature was a labor-intensive process that saw Del Toro pour his own money into research and development. The heart and soul that is layered into him in the story makes him truly special. I&apos V played characters with full personalities before, but there and/apos something about this one that really touched me. Part of the how do you choose your roles process for me is, does it touch me in some way? Do I connect with it in some way? There and/apos something about his otherness, he and/apos captured and taken to an environment that he does and/apos belong in. He and/apos tortured, that I found very sympathetic. There and/apos also, the part of his backstory that makes him mysterious. All those things kept me going when I first read the script and when I first heard the story. I found him more intriguing and more emotionally connected to me than any monster I&apos played before, for sure. And, the romance, of course. To see that romance fully actualized and consummated was daring and different. The gentleman, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In the Emmy-nominated episode Hush, Jones starred as the leader of a group of silent, skeletal storybook villains who steal the voices of the entire town to collect hearts from victims powerless to scream. He smiled. He floated. He had very fluid hand motions, tilted his head. He was very gentlemanly. While tearing someone and_apos heart out. The makeup for Buffy the Vampire Slayer was 4 hours a day. While I and_apos love the actual process of going